Welcome back to NC Bassing. Today, Cabela's Big Bass Tour tournament on Lake Norman. I'm pumped. I'm excited. It's one of the biggest tournament, probably the biggest tournament I'll fish all year. I practiced on Wednesday. It was tough. You guys see the video on Tuesday. I caught one good one. I'd be happy with one that size. It stormed all night. It rained like crazy. A little bit of drizzle when we got here. I think the rain might be done. It might be a perfect day to fish. I mean, it's like 65 right now, and it's going to get up to 80 today. Practiced on Wednesday. Tried a bunch of new areas. Couldn't find nothing great. I'm not even gonna make a video. I caught 7 or 8 little dinks mainly on the main lake. Also one good one on the 150 bridge course. It'll take at least a 3-pounder to catch a check, I'm sure. Maybe even bigger. I mean, I'll be happy with 1 over 3. I'll be happy with a check. I mean, that's the goal for the tournament, but I'd really like to win an hour or maybe even win the boat. You never know. Any cast could be the one to win the boat. I mean, I'm gonna probably throw top waters. I shouldn't. I tried it all day Wednesday and did not get a single bite on top waters, but I'm back here. I'm close to a light. I heard 2 fish jump. They didn't sound very big though. They probably were just gizzard shad splashing, but fish should be pulling up the spawn. I'm fishing up north. I should have went south. I know I could catch a bunch of fish. Those fish are all on beds. Probably even garden fry by now, but mostly on beds. I mean, it's a full moon Sunday night. There's a ton of fish on beds down there, but they just seem like they're all buck bass. I couldn't really catch any females. I'm just going to target largemouth and go for the big pre-spawn largemouth. Probably just throw the square bill, the jackhammer, and the buzzbait. I mean, I'm going for big fish. I gotta commit to that. I'm gonna try not to pick up spinning rods. Guys, stay tuned. I'm gonna catch a big one. Let's see how it goes. Fish! Oh my God! He killed the jackhammer, and I missed it. Go! I was on the swim bait. At least I seen him. He wasn't but a barely keeper. Oh, man. Jesus. A muskrat or beaver one. What the hell is that? Yep. That is a beaver. I see it. That's what I heard this morning too. Scared of it. Fish over here. God. 0 for 4 today. 0 for 4. I'm sure he's tiny, but still. There's a fish right there. Look at that. Pulling out backlash. Well, I mean, I just tied on the jig, guys. Didn't realize I backlash last time I cast. He's tiny, but finally put one in the boat. This is a random spot I just pulled up on. The rocks look good. He's not going to do it. You're missing my first 4 bites on my first area this morning. Feels good to finally put one in the boat. Well guys, midday update. I'm sucking. I mean, look, right when I pull out the camera, the sun's starting to come out, so that might change the whole game. The sun could come out, they'll really bite, but I mean, it is slick calm, 3-mile-per-hour winds. The weather was completely wrong, a lot cooler than it was supposed to be too. I mean, it's still in the 60s. The day's halfway through. I've been running and gunning, probably fishing too fast. Trying to catch them on a crankbait mainly. I mean, I'm throwing the top waters. I mean, I can't believe I can't catch any fish. I mean, I'm seeing the names on the leaderboard. I know a lot of these guys fish up around here, and they're still weighing in fish. I mean, like I thought, like a 345 in the first hour was the smallest. The smallest that's got paid so far, I think, is a 308. We had one a 562. It's taken over a 5 to win the hour. I guess they don't want the crankbait. I mean, it's probably because it's not windy enough. I'm wanting to slow down. If I can turn this day around, let's see how it goes. A fish? That might have been just a... maybe just drifted over. It Hit it again. Got him that time. It's weird how I can't hook them. I mean, it's amazing. As soon as you pick up a shaky head, you catch fish. But I ain't gonna do it. At least I'm throwing a 7-inch worm, guys, before you make fun of me too much. But he bit it twice. This sun stays out, they're about to start chewing. Might not be big enough, but they're gonna start biting. There's one. Be a good one. Be a good one. There's always one in that shade. He feels decent. Man, that might be a real one. Nope. Solid though. Best fish of the day. He's probably not even 2 pounds. He's fighting though. He might be 2 pounds. He ain't gonna be big enough though. Fish is cold. I think the bite's about to pick up, guys. He might be 2. No, that felt like a decent one. Man. It was an awkward hook set because I was pulling away from it. Man, I'm just way back in the shade. Now we're about to start catching them, so I want to know where they're at. Dang it. Today's day 2 of the Big Bass Tour Tournament. I mean, day 1 probably couldn't even win any worse. It was really tough. I mean, I really tried to stick to the mud and backs of creeks and cranking. It really didn't work out. You really got to fish the conditions. You can't just force the fish to bite. I should listen to the fish. They started getting in the shade. I just didn't want to finesse fish. I even caught a couple on the shaky head and ditched that. And I was like, I can catch them on a spinner bait or a crankbait somewhere. I know some people caught them upriver in the mud, but I decided to ditch the plan and come down here and fish in the clear water. I'm all the way down to Ramsey. I really should have done that yesterday, but they were calling for 15 and 20 mile per hour winds, and then it was 10 to 15. It's still too much for me to come down here, and the wind really didn't even blow. I mean, I could have went down here easily. I should have practiced down here. I really just assumed pre-spawn would be where the big fish would be. That's where I could catch them. But I mean, I lost like a 4-pounder down here. I caught a bunch close to 3, and I'm actually catching fish. I can't even get bites up north. I mean, yesterday it was 56, 57 degrees. Today it's 66, 67 down here, and they were on beds when it was 60 down here. So they're 59, 60. I still had fish on beds. So I know these fish have got to be on beds. It's full moon tomorrow night. Females have got to be pulling up spawn, but they got hit hard yesterday, so they're probably a little skittish or pulled off the beds. But the ones that are just moving up are the ones I'm going for. It's going to take a 3.5 to get a check, and a 6-pounder. It's going to take at least a 6-pounder probably to have a chance to boat. Right now a 5.97, but I'm thinking the 6-pounders will be caught in the next 2 days. It's the last day for me. Tomorrow is still one more day, but it's going to storm all day tomorrow, so I'm kind of glad I didn't sign up for Sunday. There's a chance for storms later today, but it's supposed to be cloudy. It's going to make it tough to sight fish, and the waters came up 2 foot in the last 2 days. I mean, the water's coming up a lot. You should push them up shallow. That's another reason I want to throw top waters. Hopefully we can catch them. We'll see how it goes. And line's in, 7 o'clock. Well, the first cast jinx, which I don't even believe in. Doesn't sound good. And it's gonna wake me out. Don't you start on that? God! Oh my! I'm sitting here worrying about this guy cutting me off, and the dang big spot just killed this thing. There's one on the drop shot. He's tiny. Oh my gosh. Well guys, it's 10:46. I finally caught a fish. Throwing a drop shot in the big bass tournament. I mean guys, I'm like mentally broke right now. It's getting to me today for sure. This whole week has just been a struggle. And I mean everybody's saying they're catching so many fish and I can't even get a bite. It has been a struggle today, guys. I thought for sure I'd come down here and catch a bunch of fish. Maybe not big enough, but definitely catch a bunch of fish. But it wasn't the location, it was just me. I mean, I can't even get a bite on the wacky rig. I finally broke down. I was throwing the floating worm, and I finally just said, forget it. I'll throw a drop shot. Not going to win it throwing that, guys. I mean, it's pitiful. I just want to catch fish at this point. Fish. Get off of that. So I need to wacky rig the floating worm. I just lost the baton. That's the only reason I wacky rigged it. These fish are there that are just not biting. They're up under this stuff. They're just not biting. That is crazy. That's very surprising. I mean, he's not going to cash a check or nothing, but he's 2 pounds. And he's definitely on the bed. Look at his fins. Wacky rig, methylate, floating worm, trick worm, whatever. Guess I just got to slow down. I mean, I can't fish any slower. I know it. I'm fishing too slow, guys. I've barely not covered enough water because all I did was cover water yesterday and it didn't work. Fishing it out. That's a fish. Oh, he's tiny. I really thought I was pulling a branch or something. It's really shallow up there. He's definitely on the bed. I feel like I was pulling a leaf or a twig. It did not feel like a fish at all. Something. On the brush hog. There's one. Oh my God. That might have been a big one. What in the world? Looks like he's gonna bite again. He's definitely on beds back here. Little. A ton of fish up here though, they're all this big. Brush hog. Just lost my 3rd Nico hook of the day for the wacky rig. 2nd whole leader. I'm starting to get really frustrated, but they're biting. I just had a bite. They're not even going. Oh, and he jumped off. Best one I've hooked so far. I mean, that's the 4th bite I've had on this dock. It's crazy. This dock is definitely dredged out. Pulls me up under there. I'm not hooking anything. He bit it again. He's small. I'm in this crevice of this crack. Get off. It's like a float that's got a crack in it. What am I stuck on? There. Gosh, she ain't big at all. If he was, I wouldn't have got him in. They're loaded back here though, I'll say that much. Every dock's got a fish on it. It's got me on the pole. Get off of that. Oh, we went around that way. It's not big though. Still a good way to end the day because I was, oh, he's about swallowed it. I was not happy earlier. Oh, little guy. Just glad to at least catch fish. I ain't gonna win it this way, but this is where I missed out, guys. I was trying to make them bite moving baits. They don't want moving baits. They won't hit top water. I mean, I'm sure they would have hit top waters early this morning, but it's probably a flipping bite. I bet you they're winning it throwing jigs way up in the shade, skipping them. Yep, camera wasn't even going. Little guy. Wacky rig. Again. There's one. Fishing it slow. Little. Just hope they're big ones, and they never are. I mean, they're like little stripers. Just dig and dig and dig. Red-eyed fish pulling up on the bed. Long and skinny. To really let it fall for him to bite it, usually they're picking it up pretty quick. I mean, I'm fishing like 3 foot of water though. Well guys, that was like the most disappointing tournament I've had probably ever. I mean, the big bass tournament just didn't work out for me. I ended up finesse fishing at the end, but you're not gonna win. I mean, I could have cashed a check on the wacky rig, but I should have just kept moving. The first day I was running and gunning everywhere, and I felt like I was moving too fast, and I just got on the wrong pattern. And everybody I'm talking to is like, well, I'm catching so many fish. We're catching 20 fish, 30 fish, and I just couldn't get bit. It was a very disappointing tournament. I mean, don't look at my results of how Lake Norman's fishing, because it's fishing great. I still think most of the numbers of fish are coming down south. There's some big ones up north too. I just picked the wrong areas on the wrong days to fish. I should have flip-flopped. I should have fished down south on day 1 and fished up north on day 2 when the pressure started getting to them down there. It was insanely crowded. I mean, on day 1, when I was back in the muddy creeks, I was kind of by myself, and I should have known I was in the wrong place. But day 2, I mean, that one pocket had like 6 boats start on it in a tiny little pocket. Just like 6 boats were there. So I know that's where the fish were at. I seen a few guys sight fishing, but it was hard to sight fish the way it was. I'm sure they had those beds already marked. I'm going to give Lake Norman a rest probably. Start fishing some of these other lakes, try to catch some big fish. Probably start fishing some of the Yak and Chain. Maybe go to Lake James. Maybe I'm still going to fish Norman, of course. If I need to go get bites, that's the place to go. But congrats to the guy that won. I mean, he won the boat in September too. That's 2 boats. He's won back-to-back Big Bass Tour tournaments. I mean, he must know what he's doing. Dwight Dillinger, congratulations. I feel bad for the guy that had the 597 that was leading the whole tournament till the very last day at like 1 o'clock. He got the lead taken away on Sunday. 628, I think it was. I mean, that's a giant for Lake Norman. I've never caught a bass that big out of Lake Norman, so I mean, that's a big one. I mean, it might not sound that big to a lot of you guys, but for Lake Norman, that's a true giant, and that'll win you the Big Bass Tour tournament most years. The big fish for biting Friday, I missed out on that, I guess. But thanks for watching. We see you next time on NC Bassin'.